I think people are obsessed with the Chris Watts case because it's the classic perfect family, the family that has all these wonderful Facebook videos and they look like this happy, loving couple and they're the people next door. And then this horrific crime happens and it's a mass murder and you just think, how did this happen? What made this guy do this?
These are some videos I found on Twitter related to the case of Christopher Watts. Many of the redundant clips have been edited out, as I know we are all tired of seeing the same stuff over and over. There's a good chance that at least a few of these you've not seen before. Thanks for watching. The dates in the left-hand corner of the videos are the date it was uploaded to Twitter, not necessarily the date of its occurrence.
This is the last video of Shanann returning home from a business trip. It was recorded August 13th, 2018. The timestamp, 1:48 a.m. She was dropped off by her friend, Nicole Atkinson, in the white car, who the next day reported her missing to police.
Understand if you're hearing this or you're out there, please let somebody know you're okay.
So, do you have any idea where your wife is?
Tell me what happened when they were reported missing. What did you find out? How did you find out? Who told you?
I think Ronnie called me. Ronnie called me and said that they're missing, and I thought, I don't believe it. I didn't believe they were missing. I believed that she was going to punish Chris. She was just going to punish him, take the girls and just punish him. I had no idea of anything else.
Last summer on August 13, 2018, my daughter Shanann Watts and her children were murdered. They were killed by Shannan's husband and the children's father, Chris Watts.
When she had come home, there was a little bit of an argument. It went away. They supposedly were intimate. They went to sleep. He got up for work at 4 or 4:30, went downstairs. He came back up and the argument, I guess, started all over again. Her saying that, you know, she knows he was cheating on her, to the effect of he would never see his kids again. And with that, he jumped on her and he strangled her.
Christopher called and said, Mom, they're searching the house. I said, okay, that's fine. I mean, and I still was not worried. I was not worried. I just thought Shanann had run off with girls.
I think I met him sometime in June, probably early June. It might have been May.
I did not cheat on my wife.
He wasn't really something that I super wanted everybody to know about.
This man has a gorgeous house. He has beautiful babies. He has a beautiful wife. He has an awesome job. Like, why would he want to leave this?
Chris Watts was cheating on his wife, Shanann. She had no idea. He and his mistress were sending photos, videos, all kinds of things back and forth. Chris obviously had to find some way to hide this from his wife. So how did he do it? He downloaded an app called Secret Calculator. Looks just like a normal calculator. You can add, subtract, multiply. But when you enter a certain combination of numbers, it's like a secret vault. There's all kinds of hidden photos, hidden videos, and that's what he was doing every time he would get something from his mistress, is move it over to that calculator.
It was always a little strange that she always said a lot of things about Chris in front of me that I didn't like. Like, this isn't the kind of person I would date.
August 10th, 2011, dinner with Shanann. Shanann said, the night you proposed to me, one of the best nights of my life.
He doesn't know how to do this, or he doesn't know how to do that. He looks like a skater boy.
August 6, 2013, Bruno Mars was awesome. Shanann was pregnant with Bella when they went to this concert, and she said Bella will be breaking it down to some Bruno Mars.
Look at his hair. Look how much stuff he puts on his hair. It was just on and on and on, and I just got a bad feeling.
Our first dance.
I mean, I feel too much. I mean, I definitely feel everything way too much and have a conscience that I just feel way too much. There's nothing that would have predicted any of this could have ever happened. Nothing in his childhood at all. I would have never in a million years thought something like this could happen to him at all.
August 16th, 2018. Developing. Any minute, police are going to bring us an update on the murder of Shanann Watts and her two daughters, Celeste and Bella. Chris Watts has been arrested. August 16th, 2018. Neighbors of Shanann Watts just came by and hammered in a cross in front of the home where the missing mother lived. Police have just formally announced that Shanann's husband, Chris Watts, has been arrested in connection with the disappearance of her and her two daughters. August 16, 2013. Shanann said, "I love this picture. The look on Chris's face when he saw Bella kick." Same day, 5 years later.
Now, we just talked to Chris Watts yesterday, and the way he acted, the bizarre things he had to say, that raised red flags for police and for basically anyone who saw that interview.
And did that seem odd to you? Or?
Very odd. It was very odd. He just seemed nervous.
August 17th, 2018. Right now, a large and touching vigil for Shanann Watts and her daughters is happening outside their Frederick home. August 20th, 2010. 4 years ago, Mary Uri and I went out dancing. Miss you, babe. Same day, 8 years later.
Set him aside for a moment. Push him from the front of our minds and the top of our headlines and make some room for another father whose grief is unquestionable.
Shanann Watts' father pushed through unfathomable pain to speak publicly for the first time, offering his gratitude to the community and making a request.
We would like to thank everyone in the Frederick Police Department and all the agencies involved for working so hard to find my daughter, granddaughters, and Nico. Thank you everyone for coming out to the candlelight visual and saying all your prayers. They are greatly appreciated. And keep the prayers coming for our family.
I just don't know how to get through it.
Even though I didn't know them, it's very surreal. They lived in this town. I guarantee I passed them at the grocery store, you know. I know people who know them. I always think of the last daughter. I wonder what they saw. I think about the last one and how afraid she must have been. And God bless their souls.
All right, guys, we love you. Hi, Tori.
He was a perfect teenager, tell you the truth. He did not even rebel. Loved sports. Loved sports.
October 30, 2014. Remember the glory. Here we go, Steelers.
The social worker even said that marriage should have ended a long time ago.
November 3rd, 2012. Rehearsal dinner time. Oh, to do it all over again. We had so much fun. Great memories.
So walk me through the sequence of events over the next few days. Did you and your husband travel to Colorado?
Ronnie did.
Okay.
Ronnie did. And, I mean, Christopher let everybody come in. Her phone is there. Her purse is there. Everything is there. But there's no kids and there's no Shanann. And I was not worried. You know, I thought she has just gone off and I'm going to punish you for this and you can worry about me. The next update I got was Ronnie called Jamie and told them they found their bodies. And they rushed over here. Nobody told me anything until they walked through the door and they told me what happened, and I just fell to the floor. I just fell to the floor. It was unbelievable. And it's been unbelievable ever since. And
Chris Watts, convicted of murdering his pregnant wife and 2 daughters. How well do you know your spouse? We have a daytime exclusive with his neighbor, who handed over the video.
Watch, I'll show you.
That led to his arrest.
But that could have been the sensor as well. It says it was shut during the day, but I think when Nikki's son, he may try to move the door around, maybe when they were trying to get in the door, in the garage door, and it probably broke the laser there. That's because my alarm started going off.
Well, I know he said the front door he tried going in, but you have to lock up.
That's for
so
the
that
kids,
set
so
it
they
off,
don't get out.
right?
And our remote on the outside doesn't work anymore. It got wet and the whole radio on the back. So yeah, that was it.
Okay. All right, appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks.
Hopefully something comes up here.
Here with 9 News legal expert Scott Robinson, this deal came together with remarkable speed, didn't it?
It did, far quicker than even a garden variety low-level felony.
And I take it Chris had never been in trouble with the law?
never. He's got 1 speeding ticket and didn't even know about that.
It's clear that on both sides of the case, everyone felt that a speedy resolution was in the best interests of the families and, of course, ultimately, the public.
Were you worried about the death penalty being a possibility?
No, I didn't care about the death penalty. Nobody's going to die in Colorado. I don't think anyone has, what, 1 person? And Colorado is changing. So people stay on death row forever. There was no, I think you'd be safer on death row. And her parents said they didn't want any more death.
And it was easy, Liz, to spot Shanann's friends. They were wearing purple, Shanann's favorite color, in her honor. They told us the hardest part of this morning was hearing Shanann's parents speak.
What would you say to Shanann's family if you could talk to them?
God, I'm so sorry this happened. You know, for both our families, because we both lost everything. You know, they lost a daughter, we lost our son. We lost our grandchildren. We all lost. Everybody did. And you'll never get it back. And they were precious. They were so, so precious.
Leave ours alone.
Investigators recently visited Watts behind the walls of a Wisconsin prison where he'll spend the rest of his life. And they say he gave them additional details about that horrific crime. Late yesterday, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation released the statement saying specifically the CBI, FBI, and the Frederick Police Department interviewed Christopher Watts for the purpose of developing further insight into the case. Watts provided investigators with additional information about the murders of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste during the interview.
The night in question, Shanann came home. She and Chris got into a fight. They had made up. They were getting along quite well. Later on, they got into a fight again. In that fight, he essentially confessed to having an affair, that he wanted a divorce, that it was pretty much over between them. And she had said something to the effect of, well, you're not going to see the kids again. As a consequence of that conversation, he strangled her to death.
Christopher always seemed anxious, and he when she needed something, I mean, he would run. He wouldn't walk, he would run, he would get it. He just always seemed to be right there at her beck and call.
October 17, 2014. Shanann tweeted, 2 years ago we signed the papers to build our first house together. The original tweet said, not even married yet, and at 12:30 p.m., Christopher Watts will be signing his life away to build our new home in Colorado. Super stoked.
He went to my colonoscopy. I tortured him. I rejected him. I pushed him away time and time and time again. He knew me at my worst, and he accepted me. 8 years later, we have 2 kids. We live in Colorado, and
I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there right now. But I don't see why he's pleading guilty. I wouldn't. I'd fight. I'd fight to the end.
Things like him getting into fights? Or...
No fighting. He was quiet.
Why can't I just let go?
I believe he loved her at first. I believe he did.
And they got married in 2012. Did they get married in North Carolina?
They did. Mm-hmm.
How was that?
Oh, we didn't attend.
Really?
Mm-mm.
November 3rd, 2013. Happy anniversary, baby. 1 year ago today, I was having the time of my life. I married my soulmate. Baby, you're the best thing that ever happened to me, and I thank God every day that we found each other. Now we have Bella on the way, and I can't wait for her to join us. Love you so much, baby. Happy anniversary.
We didn't attend because Shanann and I just couldn't get along, and I didn't like the way she treated him.
he's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
So what changed tonight, we do not know.
Do you think Chris loves Shanann?
Oh God, he loved her. Yes.
Shanann's pregnancy and was, what did Chris tell you about that? Was he excited?
No.
Chris and I are excited.
I don't think he was. I think it was a shock to him.
It's a lot of ugly out there. A lot of ugly.
And he said that they have been talking about divorce. That they are not compatible anymore.
November 3rd, 2014. Thank you again, Mom and Dad, for sending out the wedding cake. 1 year anniversary complete. January 6, 2015. Love my baby.
And we wanted to know what new information was out of this. This is hard to listen to, Dylan.
Dominic, so disturbing that some say the picture of Chris Watts is enough to discuss them, so we won't be airing his photo, nor will we be going into the specifics of the actual murders when they took place. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation told Watts they wanted to meet with him not only to better understand the timeline of the murders, but to understand what goes through someone's mind to make them think that something like this was acceptable.
But I don't know what was going through anybody's mind that night.
Every time I see pictures of them, I don't know how this could have happened. Being a dad was the best part of my life.
Reading Bella, Mommy's favorite author, Dr. Seuss, January 12, 2014. December 18, 2013. Bella's hearing test. She did so well.
In a Wisconsin prison, a tearful Chris Watts opened up to investigators like never before.
I didn't know who I was.
He was a good kid.
I didn't know who I had become.
The details of the murders too graphic to share, but what led up to the killings, Watts recalled vividly.
Reading the scripture more and more now, I can see God gave me opportunities to get out.
Watts said an affair with his coworker warped his reality and fueled his disconnect from his family.
I would like to know what triggered it.
I wish that blinder wasn't on my head. If I worked in my eyes, that would have seen what was going on.
I just cannot see him doing that as much as he loved his girls. How do you do that? I just don't see it.
It was like a roller coaster ride that I just kept punching and taking on and just never gave up. I wasn't even in the realm of I'm a dad, I'm a husband type thing.
September 11th, 2013. Now her room is complete. Thank you, Grandma, for the glider and ottoman. I will not have to read to Bella on the floor now like I have been. Can't wait to hold her in it.
I have no, concept of that anymore.
I just can't see him doing it. I just wanted to make sure that he has, I just wanted a defense. I wanted him to be defended.
I want her back so bad. That's why I want everything.
The morning of the murders, Watts claimed he had no control over himself.
I just felt like there was already something in my mind that was implanted that I was going to do it, and then I woke up that morning and it was going to happen, and I had no control of it. I didn't feel like I deserved to live after what had happened.
Now claiming to be remorseful and with new faith in God, Watts admitted there was no good answer for doing what he did.
Tell me about what you were thinking.
I was thinking in sort of the path.
While much of the confession is graphic, Shanann's parents actually supported some of the release of this information.
Have you reconciled the idea that he could have done all of this?
Yes. And that scares me to death. It scares me to death to think that he could have done all of this. There's doubt. I have doubt that he did it. I can't see that he did it. But he has our love. He has our unconditional love. I will never abandon my son. He did a horrible, horrible, if that comes to pass that he did this, then I still love him. He's my son. And I will always love him. And a lot of people don't understand that. And I don't understand that, why they don't.
You don't know what love is.
You obviously are a really bad liar. Have people told you that before?
All I want is the truth. I just want the truth. That's it.
The new information that we're learning, Susan, is that Chris Watts didn't actually kill his children, his 2 young daughters at that point. Instead, what he did is he loaded them into the truck alive, drove them 45 minutes out to this remote oil well site, and then this.
He takes Shanann's body, still in the sheet, and throws it in a dirt pile next to the truck. And he walks over and takes Cece Celeste's favorite blanket and smothers her to death. Then he takes her body, takes it out of the vehicle. At this point, Bella had, I guess, unbuckled herself from the vehicle, and he went back to the vehicle, and at that point, Bella said, "Please, Daddy, do not do to me what you just did to Cece."
It is important for Shanann Watts' parents and family to get this version of events out there because they don't want anybody believing that she was the one to actually harm her own kids.
This is pathetic, and the only reason he's doing this, I mean, obviously he's a sociopath at least.
Yesterday you said, I think your exact words were, he's not the psychopath next door.
He isn't. He's not the sociopath next door. He's not the psychopath. He didn't kill little small animals. He didn't do any of these things. He was a good child. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything that was abnormal about him, except he was socially awkward. You know, he had trouble socializing.
November 24, 2011. Shanann tweeted, "Ha ha ha. This is our view from the sofa. They don't even talk anymore. They just look, point, or grunt at each other."
He needs, probably, in my opinion, to get this off his chest for some of his own peace of mind. Not that he deserves peace of mind,
Right.
but it's like a kick in the stomach listening to this.
Yeah, I hope that those grandparents, Shanann's family, hopefully they don't have to hear the details. I think they've heard enough.
Would a normal person dispose of the bodies the way you did? And I would have called 911 if it happened like that.
Chris Watson knows his wife is pregnant with their third child, and he's pursuing another woman. He becomes the most hated man in America.
Whereabouts? Shanann and the girls.
Are they in the tank?
Chris Watts may have confessed, but he's not telling the whole story until now.
Family man, family murderer, an ID murder mystery.
On a 5-hour recording made inside a Wisconsin prison, Shannan's parents say they have been told that Watts finally took responsibility.
And I know Chris, he would take responsibility. And I guess maybe he is. I don't know. I don't know. I just can't see him doing that.
I felt like time was standing still. It's kind of like I just saw my life just disappearing before my eyes. But I just like I couldn't let go. It was like somebody else, like if you picture somebody else around you, holding your hands, holding you, keep you from not letting go.
And I think he felt a little bit more comfortable in his skin, and he just I don't think he just had the right person at his side. I don't. That relationship was toxic from the very beginning.
At some point there was a statement about rage. Do you feel like you were in a rage at that point?
That's the only way I can describe it, honestly. Like a snap or something. I know, I guess my attorney had said like some, strangulation is more of like a, I don't know, passionate type thing. I'm just like, I don't know how that could be passionate. I felt like it was just like an anger with Shanann, with everything, that I was just taking it out on everybody that was in front of me that morning.
And what were you so angry at Shanann about? Like if you could pinpoint it.
Nothing that makes anybody to want to do this. I mean, you could be angry at your spouse like your whole life, but you should never have done anything like this. You should never let it get to that point.
And he was not happy anymore. And I finally thought, he's finally seen the light.
Tell me about what you were thinking.
I wasn't. If I was thinking, it's what would happen.
Yeah.
Or at any partial hint of what I feel for those girls and what I feel for my wife, but none of this would have happened, so I wasn't thinking.
Okay.
Like, I respect my wife and she respects me.
He may be behind bars now, but he's not done talking.
I mean, I'd feel wonderful if I could talk to him and he could tell me what happened. And then we can all go on. But if he didn't do it, if he did not do this, then I need somebody to defend him. I need someone to defend him if he did not do this. Do they have the evidence? He's my son. I got to do everything I've got to do everything I can to help, to make sure that he is defended properly. But he said this is his decision, so I don't know.
Our understanding is that he's claiming that he's now remorseful and that he's found God.
Yeah, we've had a few different conversations with him. It's almost eerie how normal some of the conversations go with him, and I don't know exactly what that's about or anything. He's been very forthcoming. It's almost like calling a neighbor.
Right.
Really?
He
really
sounds
odd.
friendly and almost glad to hear from us, which was surprising.
Watts also talks about prison and how he was scared because other inmates would yell at him and threaten him. In his prison cell, he says he has a picture of his wife and kids and he talks to them every morning. He says he never thought he would spend the rest of his life in prison in hopes that his friends will someday forgive him.
I wake up every morning just crying, thinking this is not going to be what's going to happen every single day. It's just so hard to get through it.
He put her in a truck, put the 2 children in a truck,
drove himself his 45 minutes, wherever it took him to get to the well site.
Bella was still in the back of the truck alive. Okay. Tell me what happened there.
First, yes, it was the same thing, the exact same thing that happened to me as you see.
And then he took her life.
It's worse than we even thought. We thought the worst was what we heard already. You know, we had no idea it was way worse than this.
August 13th, 2011. 3 years ago, Frankie and I at Myrtle Beach.
Those are my grandchildren. I love them. They were mine. I cry all the time.
We're also learning more about killer dad Chris Watts' past. Chris Bargo joins us now from the New York newsroom. As it's revealed, a second man claims to have had a relationship with Watts. So, Chris, what are we now learning?
Well, Jesse, while Chris Watts admitted to murdering his family and having an affair with co-worker Nicole Kessinger in his prison interview last month, he did not admit to having a homosexual affair, denying claims that he was gay. Watts said he had never once met Trent Bolt, the plumply-plowed escort who said he and the killer dad were intimately involved for close to a year. And Watts also briefly mentioned another man who claimed to have had a relationship with him after meeting in rehab, while also denying that man's claims. And it was not just the men either, with Watts also stating he never met Amanda McMahon, the hairdresser who claimed she had a one-night stand with Watts after meeting at a Chick-fil-A. Watts did tell investigators, however, that he had no desire to pursue charges against any of those people for potentially lying to authorities, saying he just felt bad for them.
Chris Watts, who confessed to killing his family, will be allowed to keep their pictures up in his cell. There had to be a decision about it. A rep for the prison in Wisconsin said inmates are allowed to have pictures up as long as they don't show things like nudity or gang signs or what have you. Thousands of people signed a petition trying to make him remove the family pictures.
He strangled his pregnant wife.
Chris Watts has been referred to by some experts as a family annihilator. He just wanted out. He wanted to be a single guy. He wanted to get rid of the baggage of his wife and children. That's what he saw it as, because I think he's a sociopath with absolutely no remorse. So he didn't see them as people. He just saw them as, you know, things, and needed to get rid of them.
He identifies 2 large oil tanks, one that he had put Bella in and one that he had put Celeste in. And then identifies a bald spot in the grass where he had buried Shanann and their unborn child.
Most of these types of people are males in their 30s. A lot of them commit suicide after they kill their families, and he didn't. And I personally don't ever think he had any intention of committing suicide. I think the fact that it came out later that he had been talking to his mistress about the fact that he's in the final stages of divorce, I think he planned on getting rid of his wife somehow. They'd filed for bankruptcy, so there were obviously financial problems. I think it was about money. I think he didn't want to pay her the money. And it really reminds me of the Scott and Lacey Peterson case, because it's that personality type where he basically looks like the perfect husband, and he really thought that everyone was going to believe him. Often guys like this too, like Chris Watts, like Scott Peterson, they have a lot invested in appearing to be the good guy, the nice guy, the good husband. And so they don't want to be discovered. They don't want the dark side and the fact that they're cheating and doing these things to be discovered. So they'll go to any length to cover it up. And a lot of these guys have no history of domestic violence, and they seem like the nice guys, so it's really scary. The question of why women are obsessed with men like Chris Watts is something I've wondered about for a long time. Every time I read about prison pen pals and things like this in general, I think there's an element of wanting to experience danger, maybe, in a way that feels safe. I think some women have this fantasy that this guy who's such a terrible person is going to turn into this wonderful guy for them. It goes back to women were obsessed with Charles Manson and Scott Peterson. Ted Bundy had groupies. So it's something that's been going on for a long time. I think that Chris Watts would have confessed because he made a lot of mistakes early on. Also, his behavior was extremely odd, and I know that that's not enough to convict someone on, but it is enough to alert the police that they need to be looking at this guy. I saw the interview that he did with the local television station, and this is after his wife is gone missing and he's supposed to be pleading for public information. It was immediately suspicious. First of all, he had no emotion. He was completely flat the entire time. He just literally didn't change expression. He also referred to, I believe, one of his daughters in the past tense. He used distancing language. He talked about, you know, the kids. He didn't use their names. It just seemed incredibly impersonal, and he was just kind of standing there, and the only time that he got emotional at all is when he was talking about himself and what he had gone through. Literally, the only moment that he showed any emotion, it was like looking into the eyes of like a dead shark. I really believe that he's very narcissistic and thought that he was gonna get away with it. He didn't understand how strange his behavior looked to others, he probably thought he was convincing. I noticed that the journalists were asking questions. Some of them were very frustrating because this is an opportunity for the media to actually get real information out of him if he doesn't talk to the cops later. And they were asking him things like, "Where'd you get your t-shirt?" And it was very frustrating for me because I just wanted to, as an investigator with also the journalism background, I wanted them to ask him what time he left the house, when was the last time he saw her. I wanted them to get those details. I don't think he feels any remorse at all. In fact, I think the only person he feels sorry for is himself in this whole thing.
It felt like it was just like an anger with Shanann, with everything, that I was just taking it out on everybody that was in front of me that morning. Right now I'd have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and what might be a 1-month-old son. A beautiful wife. Just like, right now it's just me.
I read that he was talking to a lawyer about an appeal, and he was actually complaining because he doesn't have enough money to file the appeal. Literally, no matter what horrific things that this personality type does, they're always going to be the victim. They're always going to feel sorry for themselves.
During the course of that time, the defendant would have been looking at his daughters, looking at his wife while he suffocated the life out of them.
When his wife and 2 daughters mysteriously disappeared, Chris talked.
Shanann, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back.
And talked.
I did not cheat on my wife.
And talked.
Like, I respect my wife and she respects me.
He may be behind bars now, but he's not done talking.
I have spoke to Chris while he's in prison about once a week.
I visit him about every 2 to 3 weeks.
When Chris talks to me about Shanann, he talks to me about how great she was and how much he loved her. Chris feels like he had a break in reality, like he snapped, like he was demon possessed.
Chris's mom fills us in on what the murderous man is now saying to his parents.
Happy birthday, Mom. 64. I wish I could be there with everyone.
We obtained exclusively pretty much everything in Chris Watts' secret calculator. And I gotta tell you, if you think he was storing like cute kitty photos or something on his calculator, no. These are sexy photos of his mistress, some of which he took himself, and secret trips of vacations they took together. You're seeing some of them right there. Even videos. We have a video that his mistress recorded just for Chris and left on his phone. Take a look.
Thank you so much for coming out here with me, Christopher. I'm having a wonderful time. You mean a lot to me, and I'm glad that you're having a blast. I am so out of breath.
Bella's baby shower in North Carolina this time last year, July 20th, 2013. Love my baby daddy.
Hi. It's me. I guess just call me back when you have a chance. Bye. Hi. It's me. I miss your face. I was just calling to say hi. Call me back. Bye.
And you heard the giggles there, Mike. In police documents, police actually call those giggles creepy. You know, the mistress here, Nicole Kessinger, she's not to blame in any of this. Her only crime is dating the wrong guy, basically.
There you go, baby. That's Watts you hear behind the camera.
You're so damn sexy.
We have been subject to threats on our lives.
The grieving father flew from our area this week to speak with reporters outside of this Colorado home where Shanann lived. He's demanding accountability from social media companies like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
We have contacted you many times, reported this abuse, but no avail.
For a man who's already endured so much, Frank RZUCEK says stop the internet insanity.
Cruelly abused, outright bullying, and on a daily basis.
RZUCEK reading a 2-page statement asking for a handful of internet videos and at least one song to cease.
Our family, including Shannon and her children and our grandchildren, have been ridiculed, demeaned, slandered, mocked in the most vicious, ways you can't imagine.
They are videos generating many views on different media platforms. Videos that reflect and in some cases try to revise what happened to his daughter and grandchildren a year ago August.
We have been subject to false accusations, fake Facebook accounts, hate speeches, and constant stream of ugly, evil insults and attacks.
He and his attorneys have asked to have the hurtful content removed. Now he's pleading to please let his family rest in peace and those left behind to be able to live in it.
Shanann Watts' dad flew in from North Carolina to make that very public plea at this home where his daughter and granddaughters lived before they were murdered. He says that's how bad the cyberbullying is. He wants it to stop, but he also wants to see if he can change some laws.
It doesn't need to be like this. I shouldn't have to be out here doing this.
A father's unending love as Frank RZUCEK defends his daughter and granddaughters, speaking up for them and for his family.
We have been subject to threats on our lives, all because we are victims in painful tragedy. This is so wrong.
August 27th, 2019. Lifetime is set to make a movie about Shanann Watts and her two young daughters who were murdered on August 13th, 2018 by her husband Chris Watts. People announced the movie and reports said it will be based on real-life events and taped confessions. Someone named Anthony B. replied, "Pretty disgusting unless the profits go to her family."
Chris Watts killed his wife and two daughters. See how his own words exposed the truth.
I did nothing to them.
Capturing Chris Watts.
September 17th, 2019. A tweet from Letters from Christopher. This book offers the opportunity to delve inside the mind of one of the most polarizing criminals in our modern age. Then there's an excerpt from the book. As I pulled away from the site, I felt nothing for my family. My mind went to the dog. Did I remember to put him in the crate?
What would you say to Chris right now if he were sitting here?
If we were by ourselves,
Yeah.
I would say, Christopher, I need to know what happened that night. I need to know what happened. I've got to get these thoughts out of my head, what I think could have happened, but I need to know. And I think in time he will tell me.
Probably nothing you ever would have imagined you would have faced.
Never. Never. No, and not from the son that I raised and Ronnie raised. And
September 28, 2019. Letter from Christopher tweets. It is Christopher's responsibility to inform his family. It is not a legal obligation that Miss Cadle was inclined to fulfill, as this was a contract between only Christopher and Mrs. Cadle. The crime itself is part of his story. Then there's a picture and it says, I authorize Sherilyn Cadle to use my correspondence I've sent her for the purpose of the book she is writing. Signed, Christopher Watts. October 1st, 2012. Shanann tweeted, "Oh, how we had so much fun at our wedding." And from 2 years prior, wedding planning, 33 days, bridesmaids' gift, groomsmen's gifts, party favors, ceremony programs, guest book, pen, wine glasses, cake knife, wedding card holder, and aisle runner ordered and being delivered to the parents. I'm on a roll here, which means I must be forgetting something.
Tell me about Bella and Celeste.
Oh, Bella was just like Chris, just like him, shy, cautious, conservative.
December 17th, 2013. 1 hour of sleep in 40 hours, and I can't stop looking at her. Totally in love. I see so many of my features and Chris's in her. She's our angel. Can't thank God enough for a healthy, beautiful baby. So far, she's doing amazing on her feeding schedule. Totally blessed.
Cece was a ball of fire. I mean, she was fearless, completely fearless. She just loved to run. So they were wonderful. It breaks my heart to know that they're not here. They were beautiful children, beautiful children.
What did they call you?
Mimi.
Mimi? And how about Ronnie? What did they call?
Papa.
So how much did you see them over these last 6 years?
Probably twice a year. We would go up there.
Did you stay with them, or?
Yeah, we would stay with them and stay a week and then come back home.
There's no bringing them back. You know, I look outside every day, I'm like, what could we be doing right now? But, you know, right now I'd have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and what might be a 1-month-old son. And a beautiful wife. And just like, right now it's just me.
But I'm still on a mission for my daughter and my grandchildren because they wanted to live. They had the right to live. And they had beautiful lives. They loved each other. They loved their family. They loved everybody that was around them. But Mama's here. I'm right here.
Finally, to the people who have stood with us, who have supported us and prayed for us and our family. For Shannon and her grandchildren, we can't thank you enough. God bless you all, and thank you for your time. Thank you.
All right, you guys, have a wonderful day. Say, have a wonderful day.
She had that soft voice she always had.